Hi guys, welcome back to Delusional Diaries Podcast. I'm Hallie.
And I'm Jazz. And we're influencers.
I
hate that word.
I do too, but I'm not even embarrassed of it. It just sounds like that. I hate telling people that, like, when you go to the bank or something, I don't even know. And they're like, what do you do for work? And you're like, I'm self-employed. What do you do? Social media. And they're like, so you're like an influencer? And it's like, yeah, like that's
it just depends on like the audience, like for sure. Like I feel like what kind of response you get back and how comfortable you feel like saying things and explaining stuff, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of older people view influencer as Jake Paul, like kind of whatever. And I don't know.
I couldn't name a single older person who could name Jake Paul.
I think that they would, because it's like him and like Logan, they're in the whole fighting thing.
What do you consider?
Like, my dad knows who Jake Paul is.
Okay, well, I don't have a dad.
Okay, you always use that. I was gonna say it's also Father's Day.
It is Father's Day. I have a new dad though. Kevin's my father-in-law now. Well, Kevin's dad's my father-in-law.
Kevin's your father.
You know what I mean?
Ooh,
like he be healing my inner child. But like no,
that's
like
nice.
we actually are going to Kevin's parents for Father's Day in the morning. So
that's cute.
It's nice.
Tomorrow you're going?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My dad and Reed are golfing because my dad will be visiting, and I was like, oh, you should make a tea time. So they did.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
It'll be fun.
We're also going golfing.
Oh, cute. Yeah. I don't want to go.
Mm.
My mom and I will maybe go get our nails done or something.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kevin's mom's also golfing. That's like why I'm going golfing too. So
that's good.
But anyways, this episode, the reason I made the whole influencer joke is this episode is about influencing in general, content creation, whatever you want to call it. We asked for questions on the Instagram, got a bunch of them. We're just gonna try to give like in-depth, detailed answers to questions that like we don't feel like there's a bunch of information really out there to like understand, I guess.
Yeah, I think especially if you want to get started or if you're just curious, because I think it is a really confusing thing. Obviously, I think a lot of people were surprised when I like bought my house, for example, because they're like, wait, what the fuck? Like, because you view an influencer as your everyday best friend because you're seeing them make their little coffee in the morning and go to Pilates, and that's that. And you're not really thinking of them as a business or making money also. So I think it can be kind of surprising that it also is something that, you know, people
can be like lucrative.
Yeah.
But also like there's plenty of influencers who just don't do well with their money. There's also plenty of influencers who just don't handle their money well. And also a lot of people who like have a large following just don't make money also.
It is really funny. Obviously we'll get into all of this more, but I know people that seriously have 3-4 million followers, and like I'll get invited on a trip as them, and they like, you know, they have 3-4 times the following that I do, and I'm like, find out I'm like getting paid more money than them or something, and it has to do with management, it has to do with how much you know you're worth, etc., whatever. And then there's also people who literally have 100K who are making 10 times more than the people with 3 million followers. It literally just depends.
Yeah, 100%. So today we're going to talk about just like a quick rundown. And I know you guys have requested timestamps for the episodes like quite a bit. Haven't made it a priority. At this point, we're just trying to pump out episodes every week. It's going to get better, I swear. Like there's plans in place, but like we're trying.
Yeah.
But we're talking about organic content versus ads, disclosing ads, ways to make money, timelines of influencer deals, brand trips, things you do have control of, what you don't, negotiations, management, some other stuff. But those are like the main like bullet points, I feel like.
Yeah. Okay, let's just get into it.
Influencers disclosing ads, basically. I feel like people will report your video if they think it's an ad, because like you tag your brand like, oh my god, I love this product, this is great, like at Supergoop, for example, and it just probably isn't an ad.
Yeah,
because you get ads by making organic content and tagging brands, because brands will look up who's tagged them and who's been posting them organically in order to do paid partnerships.
Yeah, I believe there's a back-end software where brands can actually see how many times each creator has tagged them. And obviously, why would a brand, unless they have an exact vision for somebody, like sometimes brands will create a creative brief and then be like, oh, this person would just be perfect for that. That's so funny. But why would they want to work with somebody that's never tagged them or used their product before, when they could work with somebody that's tagged them 15 times organically because the person really loves their product, because it's obviously going to do better with their audience because they've posted it so many times before.
Yeah. And there's definitely people who don't disclose ads. I'm not saying there's not. But a lot of the time I get notifications every single day like, your video's been reported as an ad, when like it's literally just me trying to tag the brand because I like the stuff and I hope to work with them one day.
Yeah, 100%. I think for the most part, I would say the only people that are not, I'm not saying 100%, but I would say probably 95% of the people who are not disclosing ads are way bigger creators that are probably doing some form of bigger, like long-term partnership, whatever. I don't know how to explain it, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know there was a lot of drama with the Michaela makeup influencer not disclosing stuff.
I didn't see that.
Okay. I've seen like people say that she doesn't before. And sometimes it is, I don't know. I never know. And I don't know. Maybe she is disclosing. Maybe she's not, but it's weird.
Yeah. I mean, it also like the brand gives you, I mean, from my experience, I can't speak for every influencer out there, but like, I feel like you probably have the same experience that I do. Like a brand will give you instructions of like what their disclosure requirements are. Because like every brand has like a legal team that they work with.
Yeah, some like very strict when I've worked with them on like everything is done to the books where it's hashtag ad is in the corner, like on screen text, then in, you know, whatever. And then there's some brands who are like, just put hashtag whatever partner. But at the end of the day, if you're ever suspecting, at least speaking for us, if one of our videos is an ad, click the, you know, read more if there's a caption or whatever. And if it says hashtag partner or anything like along those lines or hashtag ad, obviously it's an ad. If it's not, I would always disclose in some way with the hashtag partner,
like partner
or whatever.
Or ad, yeah. Like a brand, for example, can ask you to do 5 videos over like 6 months, for example. But like you may also just use that product in a different video and you're not going to have to disclose that because like you're not getting paid for that particular video.
Yeah, exactly. I think I also said something where people were confused. I said something about exclusivity in a video I had made, and I was like, you know, sometimes you'll get paid for exclusivity. So meaning if it's a self tanner and you are like you're working with Saint Tropez and they say you can only post this for 2 months and you sign that away, typically you'll get paid more because obviously then you can't work with other self tanner brands. But anyway, it's like I could still post I only have to disclose it's an ad because it is only an ad when I'm posting that specific video that they've approved and then I'm putting up. If I'm putting it in other content as well and just posting about Saint Tropez or whatever, that's not an ad and it's not being disclosed. It's just the only thing I could like post about. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But also that's just like extra organic content because like you're using it.
Yeah, it's literally
like,
just that is organic.
Like,
it's not.
If I get like an ad with like a juice that I'm drinking and they paid me to make one video, but I obviously drink this juice all the time. You're going to see it in my other videos, but like I'm not going to disclose things. I'm not getting paid to make those other videos.
Yeah, because it wasn't approved. It's not an ad. Like you're not getting paid for that part of it.
Yes. Speaking of like what you said about brands paying for exclusivity usage, like basically most brand deals, you have like a base rate for what your deliverables are, whether that be like a TikTok video, an Instagram post, an Instagram reel, Instagram stories.
Syndicated to both,
like both link in bio, whatever it may be.
Yeah, like obviously Instagram stories are going to be the lowest amount, like because that's the least viewed. It only stays up for 24 hours, so you know an Instagram story will be however much, and then depending on how many followers you have on TikTok versus Instagram, that's how much you would determine your rates are for a reel or a TikTok. And then
but then like brands can also pay you to only use like their version of a product in videos for a certain time period, so exclusivity. And then usage, like when you see like someone's ad pop up on your free page like every other video and it's all the time, it's because a brand has paid usage for that video to push it out to other people.
Yeah, and I think brands try to trick. A lot of times I fell into this trap so much
same.
when I was like first starting out because I didn't know. And they word it to you like this is why you have management and you want to have good management because you'll do this video and they're like, we would love to help you get some extra views and like whatever. We would love to boost your video if you just send us this code. So you're like, oh my God, like more views? Like, yeah, for sure. Because they word it, whatever. And you don't realize that they're just using you as an ad and now they don't have to pay you for that when that should be something that one, you're getting paid for. And two, you don't want to really be used as a gigantic ad all over TikTok because it gets annoying and like people literally
hate to see your face.
People hate to see it that much.
All the time because there's this one brand and I love the brand. I use them every single month, but I have a long-term like usage with them and like people are like, I can't stop seeing this ad. It's always there. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, but I don't care also because I love the product. I would talk about it all the time.
Yeah, but it is like, obviously, if you're not getting paid for that, I wouldn't want my face just all over everywhere because it does get annoying and repetitive. And also, it's, again, just something you should be paid for. So if you're starting out, do not let a brand say, oh, let's boost your content. No. Like
you should be charging for that.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's one of those things, like, you really just don't know what you don't know. And this is such an industry where people just aren't transparent. But it's also hard to be super transparent once you reach a certain point, because brands, like, make you sign a contract, and a lot of times you sign like an NDA too. Like, you can't share a lot of information. So, like, if you try to be too transparent, it comes to a point where, like, you're hurting yourself because you can't share information.
Yeah, that, and also you can't really, obviously you have to be smart about yourself. You can't share. People are like, well, can you just tell us your rates? Like, no, because then brands can fuck you over with that, because if they know you know what I'm saying. So you don't ever want to share that information. It's all about negotiation, like most things are. So you don't want to share and put out too much information like that, but you want to, obviously we want to be as transparent as we possibly can without hurting ourselves.
Yeah. And like that, like for me, like when I started, I didn't know a single person who did social media, so I got fucked for a long time. If you guys like followed us prior, I also got scammed by a manager. I lost a ton of money, went through a whole lawsuit. It was a whole big thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what you don't know, and there's no way to like just Google things. Like, for example, when you have like a regular job, you can like look on Glassdoor, for example, and see like average salary rates and people's like other things, like information.
I forgot that happens, and that's such a fucking canon, or not a canon event. It's like a fever dream.
No, it was so bad. Like, guys, it was literally so bad.
Can you talk about that at all, or no?
I mean, I probably can. Like,
I feel like, what are they gonna do? Nothing.
I mean, they don't even like really exist anymore. But like, I was in this management for 2 years, and I was working a corporate job at the time, like when I first signed with them. So like, any additional money I was getting, and I was doing it on my own, like negotiating my own stuff, and like getting fucked over with like usage, for example, because I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I was like, okay, like they seem helpful, and I had a good experience to my knowledge, because I was making good extra money and I didn't know any different, and I couldn't tell what was normal or what wasn't. And basically they like changed my contracts. Like, they'd send me one contract to sign, and they like white it out and re-put like different information, like, which I couldn't tell, obviously. Like, they didn't like Photoshop or whatever. And
they basically made like a third party like company, didn't they? And then it was like the brand, because it was like a middleman basically. And then it's
super complicated. The details aren't important.
They were telling her she was making way less money than the brand was actually paying.
They would contract a brand for a certain amount and tell me an amount that was way less than that. And that's what the contract that I saw said, but they like changed the number so I would see a different number.
So they were pocketing all the extra money they were making. And what's funny is, what's actually insane is like, I still think you were making good money. I was.
That time. And I literally, which is why I never questioned it.
It's so upsetting to think like you could have been making so much more. Like, cause I was like, she'd get deals and be like, oh, that's a good rate. Like, yeah, for sure. And then it's like, to think that she was actually making like thousands more than that, but they were like pocketing all that money and fucking.
And I never got it back, just for the record.
Yeah.
And I went through like a loss. I was working with a lawyer for a while, like trying to work on getting it back, but I was paying so much in lawyer fees, and I wanted to put it in the past. Like, I already got a new manager that I felt really comfortable with, that was like fantastic at the time. So I was like, I just have to move forward, and like, it sucked, obviously, like losing out on that money. But not only that, but like, they stole the money that I was supposed to have, that like they like were, that I thought was like honest originally. Does that make sense? I'm trying to like, basically I got paid every single month, never missed a paycheck. Then all of a sudden a paycheck didn't come in. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, it's because the girl exposed them.
Yeah, and then it was the whole thing. Anyways, so that sucked. My point to this is, though, is like, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I said all this to say, when I see a creator up and coming, for example, and they like post like on like I'm mutuals with, and they post like, oh, this brand reached out to me, I will absolutely reach out to them and tell them like what I think is normal and what's not, and like share information I think that I can without hurting myself too much, because I don't want people to get fucked over like I did. But there was genuinely no way around it for me, because there was no one for me to talk to.
And it's still like, I don't want to say it was like a good thing, but it's like,
oh, I will say it was a good thing,
because
it was the best. Everything happened the way it was supposed to happen, and in the moment I never understood why I had to go through that, but it worked out for the best.
Yeah, and they were, well, I mean, it was so obviously extremely wrong what they were doing, but it's not like they were like stealing money from, they were stealing money from you, but you didn't know it, so it's not like they were like,
but then they actually did something that I did know about.
They were like, at the end,
like, for example, I didn't get paid for my last 3 months I was with them.
No, I know, because
on top of the money they were stealing,
they were like, obviously the whole company was like to be a scam, and so they were obviously paying her, but then it's like at the end this girl exposed them. And that was the whole thing. I won't even get into it. But obviously then they were exposed and they got fucked over, so then they didn't pay you at the end, which was obviously very annoying, because imagine knowing you have 3 months of work coming in and then you're not getting paid for any
and I got paid every month for 2 years. So like it was shocking to not get paid. Like, I mean, you're gonna, I had like money, whatever, but like when you're expecting a certain amount to come in and it's never not come in, it was like crazy. I did all the work for it. Like I literally did the work and I didn't get the money.
No, that's so annoying to do brand deals and like not get paid for them.
But it was a learning experience, like, and it really did work out for the best. Like I love my manager now, and the manager I had after them too was like fantastic. I learned a lot from it, and I'm in a great place now. And I wouldn't like things wouldn't have happened. Everything happens for a reason, basically.
Yeah, but that was crazy.
It did really suck. So I really try, like, whenever I see someone like getting traction, to like be like, hey, if you want info, like I'm happy to share whatever I can, because I don't want to get fucked over, because I didn't have anyone I could possibly ask a single question to. I was living in Denver at the time, okay? No one was making content in Denver.
Yeah, I didn't know either, obviously, because I mean, I was coming out of being broke as fuck, working at Free People for minimum wage. So if somebody's offering me, like, I have like $300K and somebody's offering me like $200 for a brand deal, and I'm like, oh my god, like for a video, sick. Like I was already making these for free, and so I'm like, whatever. But obviously then you look back and you're like, girl, what the fuck were you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I was working my corporate job full time at the time. I was like, any extra money I'm getting was like fantastic, and I was like happy to have it.
It's obviously not, it doesn't take that long to film a video, you know what I'm saying? Maybe 30 minutes max to like film it, edit it, all of that, depending. So it's like even just a small amount of money to me was like, oh my god, this is incredible.
Yeah. Especially, but the thing is, like, that you have to also understand, like, we're saying at the same time, like, there was so much time that put into before you got to that point.
Yeah.
And I know that should be like a given, but like, just like, it didn't just like, it's not like, oh, I'm making a video, oh, easy done. No, it's like there was so much effort where it was all for free for such a long time.
Oh, 100%. And I think the hardest part, obviously, is the persevering through the getting no views, having people make fun of you, doing like working really hard and getting nothing out of it for a long time, until finally, obviously, we're both at a good point where we're kind of in cruise control because we've worked really hard for years to get here. And I hate saying worked hard because people get so up in arms. You don't work hard. It's like, it can be hard work without being harder than somebody working construction for 12 hours a day. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, you don't gotta convince me. I'm like, I also like was doing both for a long time. Like I was working 80 hours a week in my corporate job, and like, yeah, I think I worked hard to get where I'm at, and I think I still work hard. I take on a lot of things, and like I enjoy doing these things, and I don't plan on doing it forever, but like I'm gonna do it as long as I can, because like I enjoy it, and there's a lot of bad things, which we'll get into also in this episode.
Yeah.
But like there's a lot of I'm proud of like the effort and the perseverance that's like gone into it to like be where we are right now.
No, same, 100%.
You know what? I could have got fucking scanned. I'm like, bye. I hate the internet. I'm done.
Oh yeah, for sure.
People were really mean to me during that time period too. Like I was going through a lot like with that thing, and then I also had other personal shit going on, and then people were attacking the fact that like the whole thing was happening to me. I was like, I could have been like, bye, I'm done with the internet.
Yeah, it is easy to give up when people are mean as fuck, obviously.
Yeah, but people like ask, like, when do you get paid? You can get a deal in, like, for example, January. You might not get paid until August.
Yeah, most things I usually are either like net 30, net 60, or.
But here's the thing, though. I'm saying from the point of like when a brand reaches out to you to talk to you, there's like an initial negotiation conversation, which can take a couple weeks.
Yeah,
and then you like make the content, make the video. The post has to go live. Their manager has to invoice. You normally get paid at minimum 30 days after that's been invoiced. It can be like 90, 120, even more, depending on the brand.
Yeah, so it can take a really long time, obviously, which is annoying. But I mean, you always know it's coming in. I don't really care that much.
You don't, though. I'm like, I got scammed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But for the most part. But also, brands can also be late.
Yeah, they can.
Another thing was the consistency of your income. Like you really don't know what you're going to make in a month, but because you get paid so late, like you can kind of know what you're going to get paid. No,
like you have money coming in kind of always, because it's like
it's from 6 months ago.
Yeah, but I definitely think it is a scary job, just because you could make so much money in March and you're like, oh my God, I'm on track to make so much money this year. But then it's like you can go 2 months without making any money at all. So it is like you don't want to go month to month, and you definitely want to have a lot saved, because you just don't know if you're going to if brands, it doesn't even have to be you. Like you could be doing fine. It's just maybe some brands aren't
aligning with what you're posting at the time, or like there's a product that's not relevant to like what your content is at the moment.
Brands have a lot of, they have marketing budgets, and sometimes at the end of quarters, they're trying to throw it all out. So you get a fuck ton of brand deals at the end of like a quarter, is that right? Yeah, at the end. But then at the beginning, they're being more careful and like what, it's like, it depends.
It's very just like up and down. Like you just really don't like know what it's going to be like pretty much at all. It's like every month's a surprise.
Yeah, it's extremely uncertain.
So you have to like be just like cognizant of that and kind of like plan for what you think is realistic. And some months are going to be better than others.
Yeah.
But also to that point, you don't have control normally of like when things get posted. For example, like you don't like you may like sign a contract for a deal like, oh, we want this to go live in June. Things may get pushed, might not go live until like a month or two later.
Yeah, it is frustrating when you post something that's kind of like in my head. Sometimes I'll have things that I film a deal for and I'm like, okay, this is perfect because it's really relevant to this. And I speak to that. And then the brand pushes it off. And then it's like, okay, now we want it to go live. And I'm like, well, this feels fucking stupid because I filmed that 3 months ago. I like have different fucking hair and whatever. And you're like, okay, this feels so out of place and weird. And then it just doesn't do as well also because people are like, this is some weird old video.
But like you don't have control over that. Like really like a lot of things that, and it's not just the brand, because like the brand also has like a legal team who tells them like what's going on. Like, there's so many variables that go into what happens. So for example, if you see someone post like 5 ads in a row, it's probably not their choice.
Yeah.
Like they just like, that's just how like the cookies crumbled.
Yeah. This gets people up in arms. Brand trips as a whole. I think they're obviously pretty popular for some brands. Some brands don't do them at all. Some brands only do them. Tarte obviously is like pretty heavy into them. And it's funny because I just think I understand how it looks. So I understand why people are really confused by them or whatever. But it kind of is almost goes hand in hand with like PR. A brand trip is a marketing strategy. It's not like they're like, you know what, Hallie and Jazz, they're such hardworking girls. Like, they are so sweet. We just really need to take them on a nice little trip. It's not like that, but I understand from the outside perspective, it looks that way, right? Like, they have all these amazing things set up in your room, and it looks like this great little trip. And people are like, well, they're not deserving. Why would you take them on that trip? Like, they could pay for it themselves. And it's like, you're absolutely right. To be fair, we would never like spend that money to go to Bora Bora or something like that. We couldn't afford that or something. But obviously, do we deserve a trip or something? No, right?
Yeah, like the person who like is a nurse, who's like working, or anyone working at your job, 100% deserves it more. And also, I always see the argument of saying, I'd way rather watch you do a giveaway and like see their content and like them do it. They're not going to. Like, you're not going to see it because they don't have a following.
That, and it's like, how could the brand is, again, not doing this to be nice and to treat us. It's a marketing strategy. So
they want something out of it.
A brand, yeah, exactly. So it's like, even though that is a nice idea, and maybe a brand could do that as a giveaway for a person or something, I think it's like...
And a lot of brands do, but you probably don't see it because they don't have a following.
Yeah, and it's like, how could the brand guarantee, oh, we're going to get good content? Like, this person's going to go and know what to film and how to film because they're not a content creator. And so at the end of the day, like, for example, if you're going on a Revolve trip, I'm just using this as an example. If like brand trips, honestly, I think I've like done the math in my head. I feel like they typically save brands money.
Yeah, I fully agree.
It's like if they bring 10 influencers to, whatever, like Aruba. They're bringing 10 influencers to Aruba. I don't feel like Revolve would ever do an Aruba trip, but whatever. Revolve around the world. Why can't I fucking speak? Revolve around the world. Anyway, they don't even really do that anymore. But Anyway, if they bring 10 influencers and they say everybody just has to post one TikTok, which that is so lowballing it. Because obviously if you're taking people on a 3 or 4 day trip, they're going to probably make at least one video a day, if not 2, if not 3, if not 4.
Yeah,
so
let alone Instagram stories, in-feed posts, like all these things that you'd normally be charging a significant amount of money for.
Exactly. So it's like you're probably getting just from one influencer like 15 posts between stories, photos, like whatever, all of that, TikToks, everything. So you're getting a fuck ton of posts and you're not paying them at all. And let's just say like even you just told them they had to post one TikTok and that's all they were going to post is one TikTok on the entire trip. Let's just say they all, charged like $10K. So for that deliverable, which is maybe even like on the low estimate for a bigger creators.
Depends on how big someone's following is. There's so many variables.
Like if you're bringing Monet, she's not charging $10K.
Like we're throwing out an easy number for math purposes.
Yeah, this is so like obviously
so
don't take
hypothetical.
I don't know anybody's rate. I'm not like obviously saying anything guaranteed by any means. So don't take everything I say with a grain of salt. But it's like, okay, $100K, right? Is how much you would be paying these people for if you were just making them do one TikTok. And obviously the content is going to perform so much better if they're on some gorgeous little island beach background rather than making them film one TikTok in their bedroom by themselves. Obviously, it's going to do way better when everybody's together. And so right there, you're already kind of getting your money's worth right there. Even if you're spending $100,000 on the trip, that's how much you'd spend to make those people.
And if you have a giant creator, honestly, to have them make the one giant creator make one video.
Exactly. So it's like all in all, and again, that $100,000, some trips probably cost way more than that, depending on what the trip is. But obviously, some trips that are a little bit smaller to like Nashville or something are probably not.
But if they're using their marketing budget, which again, to make a large creator make one video, that's the whole thing. Versus doing all this, which brings a whole conversation and all this stuff. And people make videos all the time, being like, "Well, I don't want to buy from this place now." Okay, they don't need you to.
Yeah, they're good.
Like, but I'll just like, it's not like to be a bitch, but it's like they're doing it to get product awareness or to get their name out a lot of the time, which is important to brands.
Exactly. And on the flip side of that, they're also getting a fuck ton of content for their own social pages. If it's a clothing brand, they're getting like so many photos for their website. I'm sure they have a professional photographer there, and they're getting all of these
for their socials,
super hot, pretty influencers to like photos of them in their clothes, so now they can post it all over their website. They can use like it for model photos for like their website and stuff.
For literally anything to the end of time. Like, you basically sign your rights away to like your image when you're on these trips.
And so exactly, so they can use these photos forever, all of this content, and like Tarte will sit there and film videos with everybody, and they have so much just for their own TikTok alone, and everybody's down to be in the videos. Obviously they're like, you took me on this trip, like of course I'll be like in this fun video, whatever. So they get so much content for their own page, which would already cost a lot of money for them to pay for all of these influencers to come be in. And so it's like all in all, brands are typically, and at the end of the day, a lot of brands are getting a lot of stuff, probably either like media rates or comped or whatever, like hotels. I'm sure most of the time they're not paying the full price of what that hotel room would be. They're at least getting a media rate, or sometimes the room's for free, because obviously the hotel.
And also brands will collaborate with other brands on brand trips to make things like a win-win for everybody involved.
Exactly. And people were, the Tarte trip, for example, the Bora Bora, obviously they put so much stuff in our room. I would guarantee, like, I'm not Maureen. I have
she's
no
not
fucking
actually
idea.
Guaranteeing. She's just saying.
I'm saying in my brain, I would say I'm 98% confident that Tarte probably did not pay for a single thing that they put in our rooms. I would say every single brand obviously was down to gift things, because they're like, of course we want our swimsuits, on this trip, because it's going to get a lot of coverage. So it's beneficial for them to, gift things. And so all in all, like the brand probably isn't even paying that much. I mean, it's still obviously is a significant amount of money you're paying for travel. Like you're not getting a comped United flight, but at the end of the day,
they're getting their money's worth
100%.
And a lot of people hate the trips, which I totally get that perspective. I'm not invalidating by any means, but also a lot of people like to watch the trips for that type of audience who's enjoying watching the content and is wondering what these products are, is wondering what is asking for the links for this stuff. Like that's their target audience, to where they're also making money from stuff.
That, and it's like, why did my brain just, why can't I feel like a lot of companies also abide by, all press is good press. So they don't really care. Even if you say you don't like it, they're okay. You're talking about it. Somebody's going to like it and somebody's going to want to buy our product. So I don't know. But yeah, I think a brand trip is really smart, but I do understand how it can get a lot. I can totally see both sides. Yeah, I totally do see both sides. I just don't. I do think it's a smart move for a lot of brands to do, but obviously I understand why people are like, we're done with this. We don't want to see this.
Yeah, and I can just see both sides of it.
Yeah, I fully do too, but I just want to make it clear, because again, I just think people are, well, you're not deserving. It's like, nobody said we were. I don't think I am. Yeah. Like, I really don't. it's business, and it's it is a work trip at the end of the day, even though
like,
obviously
you see all these like yay woo, but like also like you're making sure you film your videos, you're making sure you get your content, like you're not like, oh, let me tan and relax. No, like
the trips are super fun and it is great, but obviously everyone is like grinding like on that
like
trip.
You know, like when you go to like out with your friend, like you guys like look really cute, you want to get your picture, we don't get your picture, like you're kind of like in a bad mood. It's like that times 1,000.
Yeah, it
like,
is.
You want to get your good video because like it is when it's your job, and like you don't want to fuck it up. Number one, because you want the brand to be happy with you.
Yeah,
and like you want to have good content because like that's how you have a job.
Yeah.
And that's how you get invited to like more things. That's how you keep up with your job. Like it has to be good. So like, you want to like feel like you did a good job.
Yeah. So I think that, it is work, even though it's not hard, and we're not saying it's hard. I fully think it's a great, amazing, easy job. Like it really is. But obviously it is a work trip at the end of the day, and it's still really fun to go on these trips, but it's not just a crazy trip with your friends. It is like people doing shit.
I want to talk about Reddit.
Okay.
Not like actually Reddit, but like I feel like I just like want to like, I don't know how to phrase this actually. Hold on a second.
I don't give a fuck anymore. I've like started to care so much less.
No, but I'm saying I want to be transparent in the fact that I used to read Reddit.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I will even be transparent in the fact that there's probably a time in the podcast when we were with Carly in the studio like forever ago, I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't read it. No, I checked it. Yeah. But I will say I am 8 months, probably 9 months sober now from Reddit, and I say sober because I'm not kidding. It was a bad addiction.
10 months sober.
I was literally saying I can't wait to like be able to say that. Like that's clean. Like
no, we're literally clean.
But like if you think people have been comments that I'm happier, if you look back at like the mark when like I started getting those comments, it's when I stopped reading it. It did so much damage to my mental health. Like I genuinely. And I want to say, I always be like, oh, I don't care. It's not a big deal. I don't care what people think. No, if you don't care, subconsciously, it will affect you. I was in therapy. I'm still in therapy. But I was in therapy twice a week because it was mentally taking a toll. Because I was like, everyone hates me. And I feel like shit on myself constantly.
Yeah.
And like, I genuinely think you are a mean, fucked up person if you're writing mean shit about people on there. Like, I don't even care. Like, you can put this fucking on there, whatever. But like, you should seriously get help.
I don't even think you're mean. I think it's genuinely
it's
like
weird behavior.
No, I used to like I used to get upset, and I used to think, oh, this is what everybody thinks. No. That is seriously, I don't care. I'm sure they're screen recording putting this on there, but I don't give a fuck. It's so embarrassing. Like I actually, please imagine if I found out that someone I knew, that someone I was friends with, that I thought was like whatever, if I found out like they have a fucking Reddit account called da whatever.
And we're just shitting on people.
And they're just going in like
apart,
making up rumors, saying the most insane stuff. I seriously would drop the friend. I seriously would be like, whoa, oh my God. Like I would seriously rather find like a video of them like fingering themselves on their phone and watch that in full than find out they had a Reddit account. Like that I would be able to get over faster than the Reddit account, because I would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's so insane. And I really, it is like people that are really sad and like fucked up in their own lives that have to just go on there and take it out, and obviously they have to do it in an anonymous way. That's why they use Reddit. Yeah, it's so insane. Like we've had obviously.
Yeah, I mean, but I used to read. I used to be like, I love feedback. You know, I love like a good feedback session. But I was like, this isn't like constructive criticism. And granted, there were times where like I did find some things that I thought were constructive criticism, but you can't just like filter it out. You're gonna like read a bunch of mean shit about you. And
it's 10% constructive criticism.
I wouldn't even say 10.
Yeah, maybe that was really being nice and generous. Yeah, it's very few constructive criticism. It's mostly just like the most insane things. I remember we would like quit Reddit a few times because we were just like,
because it would get bad. We'd have like really bad days.
Yeah, and I remember Jazz's last straw on one. It's so funny to me, and I don't know why I can't.
Which one was it?
It was that she's like, I am done, and I was like, what? Like, did they say she's like ugly, like what, like whatever? She's like, I had a Stanley cup and she put
Diet Coke in it
instead of water, and somebody screenshotted the video and puts it on Reddit, and they're like, this girl just annoys me so bad, she put Diet Coke in a Stanley.
Like, how dare she waste her Stanley like that? So it was something so stupid. I was like, I literally, no matter what I do, people are still not going to like me. And I was like, I felt like weight was off. Like, that was like my 13th reason.
Yeah.
But like in a good way. Like the weight was off my shoulders. I was like, oh my God.
Because it's so crazy that it makes you realize like the people on here are so bored with their own lives that they're just making up problems.
Mind you, also like they posted a screenshot of it. I think maybe 2 minutes and you post. I'm like, you're waiting for just anything.
They were just they were like, nothing was wrong. Like you kind of like were slaying in that video. So like, what can I say? They're like, I don't like that she put Diet Coke in the Stanley.
Yeah. And I was just like, no, like I'm genuinely just like, I can't anymore. But I really, it was a tough habit to break. I'm not gonna even lie. Like it was hard.
Yeah, I finally got off of it in the midst of like, I got off of it right around the breakup because it was just so much. I didn't want to see that shit. It was like people just commenting on all of that. I couldn't read it anymore, and I've been off of it since. So I've been off of it probably since November.
I think it was a little bit before that. But yeah, no, it's not a great place. But like I'm trying to imagine this, okay? If you knew people were constantly talking about you and picking apart everything you did, and you knew it existed, you would be tempted to look.
Yeah.
And if once you start to look, you want to look again.
Well, and I think it was so toxic for us because they kind of liked us on there sometimes. So it's like they would
sometimes they'd be nice.
Yeah, no, we would be fiending for the nice comment. We're like, oh my God, wait, did you see like they made this
they think
post?
I'm pretty.
No, they like, or they would be
they
like,
thought I looked good today.
Yeah.
I picked out a good outfit and I would like, oh, I was like, you cannot dictate my emotions. This is so bad.
But they would be on us for like a week. Like usually it'd be at the same time. Like they'd either be on us or they'd be off us. And they would be like, oh, fuck. Like it's like anything we did, they were like hating us for a week and I'd be so miserable on there. And then I would get on and somebody would make a nice comment. And it's so bandwagony on there. None of them have their own fucking thoughts or their own brains. It's like if everybody's hating, they're going to click and hate too. And it's like if one person says, like if there could be a post with a bajillion mean comments, if one person's like, I actually think she looks good. Everyone's like, you fucking stupid
no,
idiot.
or it's like, okay, Jazz.
Yes, it's
like,
always that.
I'm sorry, but like, I'm being so serious. Do you think I would ever like open myself to the possibility of getting caught like hyping myself up in an account? Like,
yeah,
that is the most embarrassing shit I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, to be like, no, she's kind of slaying, and it's me, but nothing. I'm sorry, that is the worst possible like embarrassing thing. Like the risk of that. No,
I think my favorite thing is Brooke Schofield, like canceled podcast, was saying that she like has an account, but she'll go on and be like, no guys, I just want to clear this up, like dash Brooke, like she'll put that, but everyone's like, this isn't really her. She's like, it's really me. Like she's like trying to like clear stuff up in the comments.
Well, that's what's also so crazy too. Like, is there's so much inaccurate information on there. Like,
it really like because obviously I went through a whole breakup and there was like a lot on there and like whatever, and some of it's true, some of it was not true, and you know, it's just a whole mess of crazy shit, whatever. And obviously like I saw a couple broke up on my TikTok For You page and everyone's like, the Reddit says this, and it's like almost I understand why you want to buy into it because I'm almost like, ooh, oh my God, yeah, he did that. But then I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I know from my own experience like how things can get so twisted and like false and whatever that I don't want to sit here and play into that as well and believe what they're saying because like everything you just have to take with a grain of salt on there. You do not know if it's true unless that person is coming on and saying it's true. Like you should not be taking it as fact.
I just hate speculation, and at the end of the day, when there's something about someone or multiple people, no one's ever going to know what's accurate besides the people that were actually involved or the one person it's about. Like that, just simple as that.
Yeah.
And I think Reddit's really hard because someone will make a post like a year ago, for example, and like claim one thing in a comment, and someone else will read that as fact, and then like someone else will bring up a different topic related to it 6 months later, and the person will comment like, oh no, this is a fact, I saw this like a year ago.
Yeah.
It's like that was never even verified the first time.
No one cares because obviously also I think if you're with your profile, like if my face is on there and I'm saying something about somebody, if I'm gonna say something about somebody, like I'm gonna say it with my chest because I'm gonna know it's a fact because I'm not gonna get on and be like, Jazz said this one time if it's not true. But it's like on Reddit, nothing matters. Everything's off the table. There's no sense of fact. It's like people just spewing things and like, if it hits, it hits. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, like the lowest I've ever been was when I was reading that shit. Like I'm not even kidding. Like, and you bitches can put this on here. You made me want to fucking kill myself. I'm not even kidding. I was literally, I had to sedate myself for like 3 days. Like fuck off. Seriously, like you're horrible people. I'm not kidding.
Well, also I think it's like, you think that, because obviously we're all self-centered at the end of the day. And it's like, if I have 1 million followers and I am sitting there like, I have 1 million people watching my videos and 980,000 of the, like, whatever of those people that follow me are like, oh, like her content, like, scroll, like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's very vague. And you sit there and those 20,000 people that are on the Reddit or however many there are, you know, it's a very niche, small community of your actual following, but they're the loudest and they're the meanest on that Reddit saying the crazy stuff. And you're like, every single person that follows me thinks I'm ugly, or every single person that follows me thinks I'm this, or like says I'm annoying, or this or that or whatever. And you take this small little niche people on Reddit and you take it as like everyone that follows you, and it's really hard because then you're like, well, I'm posting to all these people that hate me, when that's not true. Yeah,
but feeling like everyone hates you is like, it's hard and it's shitty. Like, that's what I'm saying. There are cons to this job, and you can, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. Like, even like now, every time I get a mean comment, I'm like, oh, that sucks. Like, yeah, like, that sucks. There could be 100 nice ones, but like, the mean one like upsets me, and it's not like a matter of like, because I think what they said is true, or because like I'm insecure. It's just like, that was mean.
Yeah,
like no one likes people to be mean to them. Like, you can like know things aren't accurate, or like, and feel confident in yourself, and to be like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
like, you can be having a good day and like, no, you're not an asshole, and someone's like, you're a bitch. You're gonna be like, oh
yeah,
like, it's just how it works.
And I really have very thick skin for the most part, and I think I take things like a lot less sensitively than you.
I'm very sensitive.
Like, I let things roll off my back, but even for me, like, it affected me, and I was like, damn, like, I never wanted to quit the internet, but it definitely for me was like very deterring on what I would want to post and share. And, you know, I used to want to share so much, and I didn't give a fuck. I was like, let me just say whatever. And I'm obviously a lot more reserved with what I will say now, just over the years of getting canceled or having people
have opinions.
Yeah, whatever.
Or just like lie and be rude.
Can we talk about, we don't have to.
What?
I kind of want to talk about the sober thing for a second.
What? Well, if I don't like where it goes, I'll tell you.
Okay, just tell me. Okay, so I like, I was thinking about this a lot, because I think like the few times I've ever been like canceled, I wouldn't say I've really, like, this was like the one time I feel like where I, you know, took it really bad. And it was our first podcast episode ever. And basically we were trying to be very funny and just super like have a conversation like, oh, what this podcast is now. But I obviously was like very much, I thought it would be fun to be in the Tana Mojo, really vulgar, just like say whatever, I don't give a fuck. And I'm not badass enough to like talk my shit and not like be ready for people to say it back. You know what I'm saying? To some extent. Like, I can't do, Tana can literally do whatever she wants, and it's like, no one cares, it's whatever. But I'm not like that. And so I had said, I was 21 at the time, and it got clipped and it got taken very out of context, which was upsetting because it was on the podcast. And basically I had said being sober is boring. And I look back at that now, and I don't even stand by that. Like, I'm way more intentional with my drinking, and I actually really respect people who are sober. But at the time, of course I fucking thought that. Like, I was 21. And I'm sorry, who at 21 doesn't think being sober is boring? Like, I'm an idiot. Like, of course I thought that, and of course I said that. Like, I literally look back, I'm like, and I felt so awful. I was like, I'm the worst person on the planet. It's like, no, you were 21 and you're fucking stupid, and like, maybe, yeah, like, you shouldn't give a 21-year-old a microphone and let her say being sober is boring. But at the end of the day, it was just like me being funny. But it got like, obviously we had said a bunch of times, you know, in the thing like this, we're not talking about anybody who has a problem, addiction, anything.
We were literally just explaining like about how much we enjoy going out, and like how we couldn't imagine going out and not drinking, which we don't even agree with now. But like, that's what I think
that was the era we were in,
that was our truth at the time.
Well, I also think what we didn't also explain in that time period was we were kind of sick of, there was like a little bit of a trend on TikTok that was very much shaming people for going out. Yes. And it was like, you should be sober, you're poisoning your body. And so we were almost like on the opposite end of that, where we were like, fuck you, you're boring. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was whatever, which neither is true. You know what I'm saying? You can go out in moderation and have a great time, and it's not poisoning your body. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to drink ever, that's not boring. Like, there's people who are really fun, and like, I respect people who don't want to do that.
It was boring for us. And
that's what we meant. It obviously got taken very out of context, and people were literally like clipping, like, just like, a 1 second like being sober is boring, and then putting in like
stitching.
These girls think that you should like have alcoholism, and we're like, what?
And what's so crazy too is there wasn't an issue until one person, because this episode, I'm not kidding, was out for a month.
Yeah, it was out for a month,
and one person found issue with it, and then everyone else found issue with it also. Then became a thing on our first day of vacation.
Yeah, it was very upsetting because we're having the best time. We go to Europe.
Not to mention, we had known each other for maybe 2 months.
Yeah, and like obviously, like we had no malicious intent with saying that.
No.
Was it the smartest thing ever? Like now, would I say that?
And
no.
And I think we are much more. And I know, like I'm older than like you are. Like I think you're younger. Like, oh, so I was obviously not 21. I was older.
But I will take like. I'll take like 70% of the blame for that whole situation, because I mean, it was an approved topic and everybody approved it. So I'm not taking the 100% blame, but I was the loudest and I said the most definite statements, which I shouldn't have. Everyone was like agreeing and laughing and whatever, but I shouldn't have said being sober is boring, because what I meant was for myself, not for you.
Yeah. And it's also a thing too. It's like, it was our first ever episode and we were just like having a girls chat. And some people made videos and were like, if you gave me and two people I've been friends with for a couple months microphones, I know I'd say some shit and get canceled. Yeah, we were just trying to have a good time.
It really had no like malicious intent, but it obviously then it just spiraled so out of control and it got so bad on like and again, I wasn't none of us like were really popping enough at the time to be getting like
to quit my corporate job a month before that,
and we had like it had like videos of us getting like canceled had like millions of views, and I was like shocked because like if a video of mine ever even got 1 million views, I was like, oh my god, that's so many.
Yeah,
so to think that a video of us getting canceled was getting that many views was so horrifying.
The worst part was like I was obviously small. I'm still the smallest out of the three of us, and people from my hometown like messaged me like, oh girl, like why are people mad at you? I'm like, from Alaska?
Yeah.
And like I was just like low key. I just ate my McDonald's at the time. Like, I was such like, I didn't get involved in, I didn't have any friends. I didn't get involved in shit. Like, what do you mean? Like people are mad at me?
I know. It was seriously so crazy.
And then before I was, I'm mentally stable now. I was not mentally stable then.
No. And I mean, I was like mentally stable for the most part, I think, but I'm not kidding. I actually I had never in my life, like I think that was the first time. Yeah, that was the first time. Like I'd never really experienced anxiety in my life. Like I literally was living so delusionally, but I didn't know what anxiety was. Like Carly,
no, it's so funny because we had a conversation like 2 weeks prior to getting canceled about how like can you like explain it? Like what do you? I don't get it. Like
yeah,
and she's like, I can't fathom like having this experience. And me and Carly explaining like what anxiety is to Hallie, and then 2 weeks later, cancellation. Panic attack.
Yeah. And I really thought I was okay because I was just like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. I was trying to be like that because like I usually really am like that, but I was like, it was bothering me when every day there's a new it was like panic when you check your mentions and there's 3 new videos about you and everyone's like, you're a fucking horrible person and you want everybody to like die of alcohol poisoning. The worst part
too is like we're on vacation in a different time zone.
Yeah.
So everything's happening when we're asleep. I didn't sleep that whole trip.
Yeah, I know, because it's like people were making videos while we're asleep, so then we're up all night and it's like
the first viral video that happened like stitching was when we were at a club, our first night of our trip.
Yeah.
And our producers had texted us like, hey, like should we get this down? We're like, yeah, like what do you mean? Like we're all drunk at a club. Like it's our first night of our first night of a trip. We've known each other for maybe 2 months. Like we're just trying to have a good time. Like what do you mean people are mad at us? Like what do we do? Like what?
Like what? And it just like makes me upset because it's like, was it the smartest thing to say?
No.
But did our whole like trip need to be filled with anxiety and like whatever? Like we're just normal fucking girls trying to have a fun time, and like then we're dealing with all this, and it's like to our own doing to an extent. So it's like whatever. But yeah, I had a full blown panic attack. I could not breathe. I was like, I had never experienced that in my life. I didn't understand what it was. I genuinely thought I was dying. I didn't understand it was a panic attack. And I was like, Carly, like you have to take me to the hospital. I've told that story before, but I've never said that it was because of that. It was literally because of that, but I didn't understand it because I didn't even know I was that worried about it. It was like my body. Like
so Carly and Hallie stayed in Europe longer than I did. I actually came back because I had already committed to a trip with that Danielle and Brooke were hosting.
Yeah.
And I literally texted them and I was like, hey, like, not sure if you saw, like, are you comfortable with me coming? Because it was a podcasting trip.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I didn't want to, like, make them feel uncomfortable. Like, and I moved to New York. I just started making friends and they were all influenced. I was like, I didn't want to, like, I was so uncomfortable. I didn't sleep for, like, 2 weeks. And I kid you not, like, I had to get sedated, like, because Carly and Hallie stayed in Europe longer than I did because I came back for that trip. And cancellation just kept getting worse throughout that time period.
And you were like alone.
And I didn't have any friends. I was by myself. I lost a brand deal. And I literally called my mom. Sorry. And mind you, also, I just quit my corporate job a couple weeks prior to do this full time because of the podcast. And I was like, I can't go back to work. Like, I am having a full breakdown in the situation. I'm like, I am ready to, like, if you didn't check me, like if I didn't, I was like on mental watch from like everyone that was like near me in my life, because I was like, I actually have the most suicidal thoughts I've ever had in my entire life right now. Like, not like actually, because I have actual, I've tried to kill myself before. It's the whole thing. Casually, whatever. But like, I was so unwell. I literally had to like, I slept for like 5 days. I had to get like actually sedated because I was so.
Were you popping like 82 gabapentin? Like,
yeah, and I got higher stuff doses of everything. I had like 5 medicine. I was like, I was like, if I'm awake, I'm going to do something.
Yeah,
and it's death.
And it just was never that serious. It was to you. I get it.
No, I was gonna say though, no one is meant to deal with that much hate, like out of like not in general at all, and out of nowhere. Like, you're not meant to think everyone hates you. And on a scale where millions of people, like, because there were millions of views on these videos, people calling you like the worst possible things you can think of for a comment that was never supposed to be that.
Yeah,
like, you question, like, it was genuinely a very hard thing.
It's one of the worst feelings on the planet. It really is. Like, that is like the one downside that, like, genuinely,
you can't see it ending. Also, like, you can't ever see, there's not, because it'll blow over. Nope, it just kept, and it went on for a hot minute.
And it's because even though it does blow over to 98% of people, there's still going to be those couple of people that are in your comments, like,
trying to bring it back up.
Yeah, just trying because that's what they want to do. And it's like, we were just like young, like dumb girls, and it's like, to go through all that is a lot, and it's not necessary.
I wasn't prepared.
No, it's not necessary. It was not necessary, but I understand that's how the internet works. So it is kind of like, you got to get accustomed to that. And like, I've been through that a couple times since, and it's gotten a lot easier where I'm just like, whatever.
I'm not like whatever now by any means, but I'm like, I have the tools, I think, to deal with it that I didn't have prior because of what we've been through.
Yeah.
Like, now
I try to also be a little bit more conscious, like, say things that I actually am relatively proud of, or just not even proud of, but I'm like, you know what, I will defend this with my chest.
Like, I said what I said.
Now looking back, like, would I say being sober is boring? No, I wouldn't, obviously, and I don't stand by that with my chest. So that obviously is like an upsetting feeling, because I kind of knew I was wrong in a way, you know.
Yeah.
But like, now, like, obviously this wasn't a cancellation, but it was kind of crazy when everybody was talking about the house that I bought or whatever. I could not have given less of a fuck. Everyone was texting me like, do you see all these people making videos? And I was like, I don't care. I bought a house and I'm happy with that. And I'm like good with that. I don't care. Like, it doesn't, if people are saying I don't deserve it or they're mad at me, I don't give a fuck.
I know, like, you don't care, but it was also just, it was upsetting for me to see so much negativity behind what was a really big, like, moment for you. And like, was a proud, like, big accomplishment, because genuinely there are influencers who do make money and don't do the right things with it.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like so excited for you, and I was like, I genuinely thought you were going to get a really good reaction. I was disappointed that it was so negative, because also, first of all, influencers buy houses all the time, and I normally see a positive reaction, and I don't know what about it made it so negative for you, but it was disappointing, because I'm like, you should be celebrating the fact that someone this young was smart with their money and is doing something great. Like, I was just disappointed that, like, you didn't get a better response. I thought you deserved like more, like, congratulations, you know?
Yeah.
And you did get some of that, obviously, but like, it should have, I just expected to be like more so of that.
Yeah, I just didn't expect anybody to even care that much. Like, I thought my followers would be like, oh, sick, like, whatever, like, you know, it would be that, but I didn't realize it would be like a whole internet thing. But like, genuinely, if that had happened at that time that the like sober thing happened, I would have been like watching every video, panicking, like, whatever. I'm not even kidding. I didn't even watch 90% of the videos that were made. Like, I would watch some and think, oh, that's funny. If it came across my For You page, I'd watch it. But I wasn't like sitting there checking my mentions obsessively, like looking at every single thing that everybody was saying.
I think also, like, the not caring or not, like, not even having the desire to check what people are saying just comes from like more and more time of being like, I like who I am, and like, I know who I am, and I'm like, you're not, like, the comments don't hit the same when, like, you're like, oh, like you're wrong, like,
yeah,
you know, like, you're like, I know what I need to know. And you can like know that before, but it's a different level of knowing and feeling it. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah. And I think like this is kind of not the exact same thing, but it's like at the end of the day, we're all just normal fucking people. And if you all know, I know all of you sitting here right now, if you and your friends were talking and your conversation was recorded, like if you were just having like a girls chat, sleepover, whatever, and your conversation was recorded and put on the internet, you all would be canceled so fucking quick. Do not act like you do not say horrible things all the time. We all know you do. And so it's like, and well, I understand 100%. I'm not going to say the things that I would say off camera or like privately, whatever. Not that I'm saying like slurs or anything like truly terrible like that, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to put that out because obviously that's not what I want to put on the internet, and I don't want to like be offensive or ever hurt anybody's feelings or anything. So I'm not going to sit there and say things like being sober is boring because I don't agree with that. But it's like at the end of the day, it's just annoying because it's like the one little thing that you do that's wrong, everyone's going to blow up so bad when you know that you're sitting at home saying 15 times worse things every single day.
Yeah, 100%. Also, I think it's tough too. Like when people have platforms that are like very niche and very like subject based, I think ours, we always said we wanted to have just like you're in the room with like it is a conversation where like you're talking with your friends and you're just like you're also there with us, so you're more likely to get in things that are maybe taken wrong or a little bit messier when like you're having a casual conversation with your friend. Yeah,
it's like it opens you up obviously a lot. Like it's harder to come at somebody like I don't know why I always use her, but like Acquired Style Bridget, like she does a lot of hair and she doesn't like share, like you don't know that much about her life. You know, she has a sister and she wears cute outfits, and it's more just about those things rather than like, hey, let me talk for an hour about like the intimate details of my sex life. You know what I'm saying?
Like I think both of us, like you way more than me, but like our content is based on our lives and what's happening, and we give a lot of detail. But I think we give a lot of detail because first of all, people want a lot of detail, but it's a choice to open yourself up in that way. But just because you choose to open yourself up in that way doesn't mean that you should have to deal with necessarily all these out of pocket mean things. Like you're allowed to have an opinion, but also like text your friend about it. Like don't.
That's what I also think is
somewhere else.
I think this is so weird. Kind of on the Reddit thing, but just in general, mean comments. Like, I'm a mean person. Like, I'm a bitch. I'm a judgmental person. I think people's outfits are bad. I think people's makeup look like shit. I think people do their hair terribly. I think all of those things, just like you do as well. But it's so bizarre to me because never once in my life, besides maybe when I was like 13 years old and Maddie won like nationals from Dance Moms and like Chloe didn't, that I did. I'm going to be honest. Like, I didn't even know I did this, but I was like checking, like you can see on Instagram when you scroll all the way down, like what comments you've made. I commented on Maddie Ziegler's post probably 82 times. Like, Chloe should have won, you bitch. Like, I wasn't saying bitch, but I was like in that subject. I look back, I'm like, I was 12 commenting those things, thinking I was eating. And I'm like, what was I doing? But besides that, like, never in my life have I been like, oh my God, she looks terrible. I need to tell her. Like, I've never thought that once in my life. I've never, ever, even if it was from a burner account, I would never want somebody to know that. Like, I'm like, yeah, I don't think your outfit looks good, but I'm going to keep that in my head, or I'm going to hit share and I'm going to send this to my friend privately in a text message, and that's that.
Yeah, I've never been able to comprehend how when you see something on your phone, like on your free page, whatever, and your first instinct is to comment something nasty or rude or hurtful. Because my first instinct when I don't like something or like I feel some type of way about it is to scroll.
Yeah.
Same. So like if that is your first instinct, like it's concerning.
Yeah. Like you can watch stuff and judge it. Like I'm sure.
I'm not saying we don't, like we do that fully, but like there's a time and a place.
It's just weird because it's like, yeah, like I watch things on my 40 page. Like I have people I probably even watch that I like don't like, but I almost like hate watch them. We all do that. Yeah. I'm sure there's people that hate watch me. I'm sure it's valid. A large part of my audience. I'm kidding, but I'm also not. It's like, and that's fine. I don't care. Like, who gives a fuck? But it's just weird that people like genuinely want to get on and be like,
you're an ugly cunt today.
Yeah, like, or just like even what's crazier, like calling me ugly. It's like, or like your eyebrows look like shit. All right, whatever. It doesn't matter.
But also like that, it's because when people make a comment like that, your intention is to be rude and hurtful. Because there are actually nice ways to comment. Like, hey, like, have you ever considered doing your eyebrows this way? I saw someone similar that looks like you. Have you seen hers? Like, I think it looks so good on you.
Yeah.
Like, there's a way to like really be. I've had people in my comments say, I've been blocking, you know, and if you step wrong, I will block you.
Yeah.
And I have to my comments recently be really creative with how they nicely say things to me that like I think might be helpful or like whatever. And I'm like, and like when I read them, I'm like, oh, like you genuinely are saying this with good intent and you're trying to find a good way to put it across. And I can appreciate.
Yeah.
But like if you're just trying to make me feel bad,
I know.
You are why?
I know.
Also, like, I just want to clear real quick. I know my voice is like not really here right now. I went to Taylor Swift this week.
You didn't have a voice before that.
I really
that
didn't
help.
But like, it took the rest of like what was kind of remaining. So worth it. Love her to death. Great experience. But I just want to say like that's why I sound the way that I do. Yeah. Before you makes nasty, mean fucking comments that are hurtful.
Yeah. I just find it weirder when people like, especially about your personal life, like obviously we're more subjected to that than other people, but when like I've dealt with a lot of, which I don't even care, I'm seriously like whatever, but obviously like I know I put the breakup online, I've talked about this before, it's like I know what I did, like I'm aware of how it looks, whatever, but it's also like getting back together with an ex is one of the most normal things I've ever heard of in my entire life. I have talked to so many people, like literally my hairdresser and I were talking today. She's like telling me the exact same story. Like my boyfriend broke up with me. We got back together. We've been back together for 3 years. It's amazing. Like it's a super normal thing. But people make me feel like it is like I took back like Jeffrey Dahmer. Like the way people are in my fucking comments and just like he doesn't love you. It's like, have you ever met him in your entire life? Do you know a single thing about him, me, anything? No, you never. I don't even think you've heard him speak on my TikTok ever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like so weird when people are like so obsessed to comment all these crazy things. And it's like, well, imagine caring.
Well, the crazy part to me is like, do you think that your comment is going to make you guys break up? Like, I'm so sorry. But like a stranger on the internet saying, he doesn't love you isn't changing shit.
It is so weird. Also, like, yeah, you think he doesn't even have TikTok. You think he's fucking reading that? Like, I don't know. Or like me being like, you know what? You're right.
User 36. Oh my god, they have a point.
They ate with that one.
You know what? It's over.
Like it's so
like
crazy.
Let's just like I don't want like it goes back to like mean and hurtful intent. But like the worst thing for me, and is there's nothing worse or I don't get it is when they come after people like that, like you're friends with, like that are on social media, or like your family or whoever it may be, and are mean to are talking shit about them. Like they don't. Like, I always get comments like of people saying like you have no friends. No, I don't post my friends because I don't want to subject them to that when they didn't sign up for. Like I post my social media friends because like they get it, it's whatever. But I've had people be mean to like my friends. I'm like that's not fucking fair. Yeah, and that's fucked up.
It is. It's weird.
No.
It's also weird when I've seen this happen to like other people where it's like people will come at people's family members so hard and for like whatever. I've seen people be like, her mom made a Facebook post in 2018 where she said that she liked Donald Trump or something. And it's like, okay, even if that's all true, which like, how are you
want them to cut off their mother?
Are they never supposed to talk to their mom again? Or like, you can't watch their videos because their mom made that post. Like they never said they supported that or agreed with that. It's just really weird.
What's your best advice for someone starting social media now who feels like they're boring?
I think that's the thing. That's what's really hard. Getting like people are so self-obsessed with themselves. Like we all have so much to deal with, so much drama in our own lives. Getting somebody to care about yours is really fucking hard. Like it is. And you have to be exciting. You have to have something that's a little bit different or like a niche if you're going to be like a more personality person. If you're going to be aesthetic and, you know, just do hairstyles, if you're just doing a really good hairstyle, that's that. You don't have to really be that exciting with it. But I think it's really fucking hard to get, like, I see people make like get ready with me videos. And I'm not like, I don't mean this in a mean way at all, but it's like, why would anybody want to listen to this? You know what I'm saying? There's so many out there. You have to do something different or like exciting to keep people's attention. We all have no attention span. If I am not interested in 3 seconds into the video, I'm scrolling. I'm trying to think. I think like, obviously this is just like me spitballing, but I think like a lot of like dating content and story time content does really well. If you have a really crazy story, like get ready with me while I tell you, you know, how I found out my ex was cheating on me. Like, okay, you know what? I might stay. Like, I'm a little bit interested. And I think things like that with a hook are really important.
I agree.
Yeah. You have anything?
I think you have to like what you post. So, and I don't think like there's like, this is my opinion, but I don't think there's like one thing that's like going to do well or one thing that's going to do bad, because there's so many consumers and you never know what people are going to be interested in. So I think if you just make videos about whatever you want to make videos about and stop trying to be like other people, like your correct audience will find you. And it's probably not going to happen overnight, but like slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
Like people that like actually, and also like if you want to be a full-time thing, like people have to like you for you. Like it doesn't need to be a massive audience. You have to have like a small audience who like actually likes your shit.
Yeah.
And who like likes you as a person. So if you post about things that like you're actually passionate about and care about, that you enjoy creating, like it might be boring to you, but someone else might want to relax after a long day of work and find your boring video relaxing. Like you don't know like what's gonna do well. I think if you just make videos about what you enjoy making videos about, like you'll find your correct audience.
Well, I think you should make it. Yeah, I agree with that. But I think if you think your own video is boring, then like I think maybe you should try to switch it up, because I don't know.
I mean, I think people say I have a boring life. Okay, but like but like your life to you might seem that way. But if you like talking about, like, for example, gardening, I think gardening is kind of boring to a certain extent. But like, there's someone out there and more than one person who's gonna be like, I didn't know about this. I'm interested in this.
Yeah, you don't have to have anything crazy. It can be any niche. I mean, think of like Emma Chamberlain. It got so popular off of her like quote unquote boring life. Like she was just a girl living in the Bay Area, thrifting and just drinking coffee. And it was just, people loved her for her and her personality. She wasn't doing anything necessarily like revolutionary. She wasn't telling like the most insane stories you've ever heard. You don't have to, like, obviously how my ex cheated on me. Like, you don't have to even have a story like that. If you have something niche that you want to make videos about, it just has to be good content, whatever you're putting out. Like, it has to be like edited, not like insanely well or anything, but there can't be a 3-second millennial pause at the beginning of it and every clip. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to make people want to keep watching.
Yeah. Basically, if you post, like, also test things out. Like, post one thing. If it doesn't hit, like, post another. Like, you got to try a million different things before you find what sticks. Like, I genuinely didn't think me unboxing food was going to be, like, what hit. And, like, that's what hit. But I didn't enjoy that the most out of my videos. I enjoyed also other things. So I posted that because it hits, and then I got other people from doing other things. Like, you just do what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, you just have to be consistent with whatever it is you're trying to do, but like try different variations while being consistent. So people asked about how to get a manager.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know how it is now versus when we were first starting out, because that was obviously like 3 or 4 years ago. So I'm not sure if it's changed. But when I remember, I didn't even have a manager until I had like 3 or 400K. I was making no money. I didn't really realize, when I was doing like the worst deals you could imagine. Like, it was like 8 TikToks for $1,000 and whatever. It was like all of these deliverables. And I was like, this is amazing. But I was doing the worst job ever. And so then I had like a random manager reach out, and she was like, do you like want to work together? So I was like, oh my God, somebody wants to be my manager. Like, for sure. I didn't even like do any research. I was just like, yes, girl. Thank God. Actually, like, I look back, because I could have gone so south. Like, it could have been some crazy, really long contract. There was really no like exclusivity with that. Like, it was kind of just like, I just one day was like, all right, I'm going to a different manager. And she was like, oh, okay. And that was that. And like, it was not a big deal, because a lot of times your contracts are for a certain length of time. I don't think I had a contract. But now I don't know how you just like go about getting a manager. Do you? I
mean,
you can reach out.
Yeah, you can definitely like look up talent managers, like just email them and be like, hey, like, you take a meeting with me or whatever. But also, like, if you have like a certain, like, I don't want to say certain number, because it's not even like a number, it's more like an engagement. Like, there's a lot of variations. Like, you'll get, if you have an email in your bio, like, people will email you trying to be your manager a lot of the time, I feel like. But also, I feel like people get managers, or like the right fit manager, through networking with like other creators.
Yeah, it's definitely, a manager can be, if you're like, if it's not the right person, there's kind of no point of having one.
Yeah.
So it really just does depend. But also, a lot of times there is a lot of requirements depending on what the agency is. But I know some agencies want you to already have been making a certain amount of money before they'll take you on. and you have to prove that to them. Like some need you to have a certain amount of followers or engagement or whatever it may be. But
there's like so many variables. I think
Yeah.
it just like goes back to like there's not like enough transparent information we could give.
Yeah.
Like
but don't be discouraged if somebody's like, no, I don't want to be your manager. Don't be like, okay, I'm never going to get one. Like,
Yeah.
find somebody else.
yeah, no, 100%. Also, like they might not be your manager now, but they might be later on. Like, it's just I think it's more important to like find someone's like a good fit and like trust them and trust like and like also have a lawyer look over your contract. It's worth spending the money initially.
Does it feel like a full-time job?
That's the thing. There's weeks where it's for like I'll speak for I'm not speaking for us. I'm speaking for myself. There's weeks where I am back to back, just like busy. I feel like, and there's weeks where it's like a little bit slower. But I think it just depends like how many streams of income in different areas you're working on. I feel like because like I have brand deals on all my things. I vlog for YouTube. I am working on my board game. We do the cocktail series. We have the podcast. Like, I feel like I stay like pretty busy, especially when I have a lot of brand deals going on. I have like a lot of filming plus like organic content on top of it. Also depends on like your kind of content that you're doing. But, like for me, like as I try to like get into like other areas and I'm trying to like plan things out more and like with planning what I feel like my wedding, to be fair, like low key is part of my job right now because there's so many things that like are tied into it. And also like you have briefing calls with brands a lot of the time, or you'll have like lunches with brands. Like, so it's like not, it's definitely full-time, like hour wise. And I also struggle with not being able to stop and I'm trying to find a balance of not making everything content. Cause I feel like it's hard to feel like you're missing out on what could be content, which could be money, which could be like your career and your job.
Yeah.
And like turning it off.
That's how I feel, and that's the biggest thing is like you never feel like I and before any of you fucking clip this and take like, oh my god, influencers complaining about whatever. I'm not doing that at all.
Yeah.
Like obviously I'm so grateful for this job. I don't want any other job. Like I'm so happy with this. This is just obviously us sharing like our actual experience. But I literally never feel like if I don't film something, I'm like, oh my God, I'm literally the worst ever. And I like, this sucks. And it's like, you don't have to film your fucking like date night dinner. Like you can just like go do that and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? And I'll always feel guilty for not filming stuff or not making content out of it or not getting enough or not getting good enough. Like it's like, I'm actually so annoying sometimes. And I realize that I'll like, we'll be running late to a reservation and I'm like, Reed, you have to film this sound of me really fast. And he's like, okay. So he does it. And I'm like, again. And we do it for like 5 minutes. I get it. It's good. But I watch it and I'm like, we're walking away. I'm like, actually it could be better. Let's do it one more time. And I'm like, girl, enough is enough. Like you got the video. Like it doesn't need to be this like perfect whatever. Like move on. Like you don't have to, ruin a whole night because of that. It's like I catch myself doing things like that a lot where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to like be present sometimes because like it is like your job to talk, especially depends on what type of content you're doing. Like for us, like when your content is just your life and nothing else, like everything is work, and like it's hard to like stop and be like it's like almost like wasted opportunities when like you do choose to stop. It's like I struggle with that, I feel like.
Yeah.
But, like,
but then it makes things less fun. It makes things significantly less fun when you're filming stuff. Sometimes. Like sometimes we're just out and it's like a funny little whatever and I enjoy doing that. But sometimes it's not fun. And then it's like you're ruining other people's time too that are, not on social media and don't want to be a part of, like, not that you're making them be in a video, but just you're like, sorry, we have to do this. And they're like, okay, we just wanted to hang out with you.
Yeah, exactly. But like as far as like hours wise, I used to work 80 hours working my job, so like I worked way more than like the average person, but I mean I'm definitely like, working way more than full-time hours.
Yeah,
like
I think by the time
it's a different type of different type of job. That's what it is.
Well, because like almost everything you do in a way relates to that, but at the end of the day, like it doesn't feel like. It doesn't, like, obviously I'm not like, all right, I'm going to log on for the day. Like, if I get started a little bit later, it's like, okay, who cares? Like, 'cause I'm going to do this and this and this. Or, like, I'll have appointments that I'm filming. And it's also weird. It's, like, the weirdest thing because we almost, like, live the life of a stay-at-home single mom, almost. Like, we don't. But it's like, I almost feel like sometimes that's how it's portrayed. Like, I'm like, going to get my nails done. And it's like, you're getting your nails done on a Tuesday in the middle of the day. But I'm like, what you don't understand is I'm filming a whole video. And that's my content for this morning was me going and getting my nails done. And so it like almost looks like, well, she's not doing anything. But it's like, okay, like, but that was the point. Like, that was my video.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm also like, I'm way more involved in my stuff than I feel like other people. Like I do wake up and I log onto my computer and I like set out my entire day and like do more like other shit. I feel like more so than like I don't know, whatever. I just feel like I am constantly busy and like working on shit.
Yeah, I feel like I'm always doing something during the day, but it's just different literally every single day, and I don't fucking know what I'm gonna. Well, I do know what I'm gonna do, but it's also like our hours go into the night a lot of the times too. I hate to call them hours, but it's like going to events. We could literally go to an event every single night of the week. There's always something going on for some different brand, and so you do have to pick and choose because you want to also have a social life balance, and you don't want to just go to an event every single night. I mean, it is a social life because you get to like go talk to people and it's fun, but it also is networking. So
yeah, but I don't feel like we had to give a disclaimer that we're like grateful and like love to do it because like if we didn't, we wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Like I would literally just go back to corporate if I didn't want to keep doing this. Like, but I am really enjoying it, and I like to get. I want to keep getting into other ventures and starting other things and so on and so forth. So, but also like love the podcast. Like, and I'm looking forward to like doing more stuff with this once we are able to.
Yeah,
like have like a whole thing, whatever timing wise, whatever, good things. But I hope I hope we answered your questions. But like I know we did because like I literally checked them off on the thing. But have a good week.
Yeah, if you have more, we get to.
Yeah,
I feel like we missed half the things that we even needed to talk about. Yeah, there's so much that goes into it.
Just like already past time. But yeah. I mean, if you guys like this type of episode, like let us know. If you hate it, say it nicely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always the people think they're saying nicely. They go, "Love ya, but," and then they say the meanest thing you've ever heard in your entire life. That's also gets me.
Nice. Yeah.
But anyway, no, you can say whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. All right. Have a good week.
Bye. Bye.